favorite religion of choice, to offer you salvation through penance and fees was also just a business practice and intel gathering. I mean, welcome to the confessional booth. Tell the priest every horrible thing. Oh, now the priesthood knows everything going wrong in town. Is it possible that if you had the lowdown on everyone in town, that there might be some nefarious ways to do some fundraising?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, this is just, it's the nature of the beast. We have to look at human nature and the cycles of things. And, we're just getting to another one of those points in time where we learn what happens after an excessive period of time of the rich stepping on the throats of the poor with their mighty boot.
Right. And I think it's so funny to think about sometimes because it seems we've fallen so far. And I'm reminded of the Tower of Babel, right? Right. When you get there, God strikes you down and throws different languages at you, right? Now you can't communicate. Don't come this close again, or I will strike you down, right? And it seems just like, I don't know, are we being, as a population, held at checkmate?
Yeah,
Why don't we know our
if
own?
not, we're extremely close to it. I've not been trying to proselytize to people that we're in some good position. I do not come bearing great news. I have terrible news that requires people to get rapidly into a state of action to help mitigate this problem, or things will get way worse real quick.
Real fast.
So, I mean, it is the proverbial yelling of fire in the, fully occupied movie theater, that at this stage of the game, you're either gonna get up and react to the alarm call, or you're gonna suffer accordingly.
Yeah.
And I get that a lot of people at this stage of the game are hitting me with prove this, prove that. You know what? There's a time and place for everything. And at the time that the place is burning and someone's just telling you to run for your life is not the time where you start saying, I'm going to need a link.
Where's how did the fire start, sir? Can you get me that?
Are you sure that we're all in trouble, or is it, I'm trying to do my best to warn people that there's a circumstance that requires immediate action, but people are extremely resistant to hearing such a thing nowadays. Like, how dare you tell me I have to do something? I mean, that is almost the biggest party foul on the planet now, is telling people you have to do something about something. I mean,
they've coined it now. It's the they call it the trust me, bro.
Okay.
That's what they call it, the trust me, bro testimony.
There you go.
You have to trust me, bro. That guy. So like people like Matt Ford of the Good Trouble Show, like they've coined those kind of terms, like it's the trust me, bro attitude. It's like, all right, dude, sit in front of your teleprompter again. See you later. Not was it Matt Matt Laszlo's. He does great work. So the Ford kid from that show, he calls it that. It drives me insane. Because it's like, again, 99, these UFO sightings and cases, it's not like we're working off the best evidence in the world. No.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's the part that irks me, is like, hey, if someone's going to turn to me and say, you're going to have to prove what you're saying, well, I'm just going to demand reciprocity, because I have the documentation, I have pictures, video experience, I can back up what I'm saying. So what I just basically suggest to everybody else is, you need to start doing more than trusting the other BS artists in these conversations. Because that's where I'm coming from, is I can actually support what I'm saying, and I
It's
don't understand how the general population is apparently currently accepting a trust me, bro circumstance for almost everything that they hold as an opinion.
Yeah.
Because they're regurgitating stuff from people that they like what that person says, but those people aren't providing anything.
no, they don't have an original idea.
Right. So
No.
we're getting trust me, bro, by proxy information.
Yeah, it's again, it's just been a giant it's a walking contradiction. Again, it's
Yeah, for the
sometimes
most part. This
it's
is again, this is the big problem with disclosure, is that we have all these echo chambers of people passing around the most recent cool story. Did you hear about whistleblower X? Yeah, he just showed up out of nowhere and has
literally,
absolutely nothing to back up his claims. But isn't that a
literally,
cool story? Imagine if what he said was true.
it's and the UFO community has gotten to a point where it is so well fed, if you will, that it is now, like you said, it's consistently looking to be gratified.
Yeah, I mean, we could probably just start paying attention. Like, what's the date that this new guy came out? When's going to be the date that the next night? I mean, can we just start following the frequency and stop? Let's just make it official and find out how many days go by before they feed us with a brand new "Have you heard about" guy?
That's actually a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously going on.
Came out
So
on
somebody
420, so
run the numbers on how often they feed us a new feeder fish in the UFO community.
yeah, he came out on 420, so
Yeah.
they knew everyone was fucking stoned out of their gills, and he went on to a Twitter Spaces that was not recorded. The only copies of it exist through various channels that have different clips of it. That they were like they were live and they heard it was happening, so then they tuned into it. You know what I mean? So no one has the full thing. No, so
Thank God for that amazing coincidence that these random nobodies just happened to be there.
that's what I mean. And it was like
Yeah.
the next day I woke up and everyone's talking about Jason Sands this, Jason Sands that. And I'm like, well, who the fuck is Jason Sands? And then I'm like, oh, he's
where's the proof? I mean, right off the bat, I hear everybody talking about a person and a story. I've yet to hear any of the proof presented.
Yeah. Well, he releases what do they call it? DD-214.
Okay, but what does that prove? That he was in the military?
Yeah, that just says that I was in the Air Force for this amount of time.
Right. I mean, so what? Yeah, I mean, what are we talking about has legitimately been proven. Okay, so now we can prove that this person was in the Air Force between a certain periods of dates. Copy that. Right. What does that prove?
Yeah, and the community keeps saying that, oh, he's been vetted by this guy, this guy, this guy. It's like, okay. You know what that means, right? Vetted just means that they backed they ran a background check and they made sure he is who he says he is, not that the claims that he says are true.
Right.
They're running that validity.
And to be big picture here, I mean, who do we put in these positions of authority to vet people? Because I'm currently going through the ringer of the Antarctica topic and running into knuckleheads like Linda Moulton Howe. And people have somehow put her in charge of vetting people that are discussing the topic of Antarctica. Boy, do I find that hilarious. We have a person who's never been to Antarctica who is now somehow an authority on the topic. That is quite a laugh. But this is how disclosure works.
Are you being facetious? Or are you being real?
I'm being dead serious. I had a conversation with her.
Oh my God.
Where she was attempting to vet me, and it got really ugly because she started basically like being condescending to me for being a plumber and not a physicist at the South Pole, and basically just started talking down to me like, well, what would you know? And I just found it hilarious because the long and short of it was, I would know a lot more than you would, a lady.
Yeah. Right.
You
Right.
know, so it's like,
Right.
again, who's in charge of vetting who? How about I just come out and express to the community that they're being lied to by all these other figureheads and gatekeepers in regards to the topic of Antarctica, and it's easy for me to know that because I've been there
Yeah.
and these other people have not. So I don't know. It's just that simple.
I
They're
wholeheartedly
lying to
agree.
you. They're scumbags. They have no clue what's going on down there. And they appear to be all somehow loosely affiliated to some organization that's trying to control the conversation about Antarctica. And it seems to be working really well. It's quite a little network of lunatics they have on this topic.
Huh. You just gave me something I'm gonna have to look into a little bit further because last I checked, Linda Moulton is an expert in like the cattle mutilation stuff, but there's no cattle down there. So how would
Right.
she be an
She
expert?
got parlayed into it. There's,
Yeah.
there's
That,
some whistleblowers that they claim to have that claim that they wintered at McMurdo and all. I mean, this is all, again,
that's
it
only a
sucks
place
that
that's a
Linda Moulton
stopover
Howe
though,
has
right?
never been to Antarctica and would have no idea how, when someone reaches out to her, to conclude whether or not they were actually in the program. So they're getting bamboozled and played with at best, or they know that it's crap and they still disseminate it anyhow, which would be even worse. But regardless, as someone who's actually been there, again, it's very easy for me to see that they're getting crap info.
Yeah. I mean, these are the same people who throw award ceremonies for their buddies and give them lifetime achievement awards.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, like, we have to remember, it's so fucking, it's just a sham,
Yeah.
man. It's like, oh my,
Yeah.
and once you step back, it's so easy to see. And that's what I mean. I guess the
Mm-hmm.
moral of the conversation is when someone comes out and they have a story to tell you and they have credibility to their name, they've given you no reason to doubt them before.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't you take their word? Why
Yeah, I
can't,
mean, there's got to be, we have to give some value to the testimony of the experiences of others. I mean, otherwise we're just, completely jaded. But it's one thing to trust somebody. It's another thing to have discernment gained through life experience, to just have an understanding. It also helps to have actual evidence. I mean, all of these things add to growth in these information streams. So a lot of where I'm coming from right now is that I don't truly want to be against anyone, so to say. I believe that, like you said earlier, to some, like, we all have a bit of information in regards to figuring out the big picture of the puzzle. So
absolutely.
I'm not really trying to push anyone down as much as I am trying to push to the front of the conversation those people that are involved that do have proof, just because it's way more advantageous to the growth of the truth and the understanding of the people by just prioritizing that. I mean, it's just that simple. It will accomplish a lot more for all of us if we stop wasting our time trying to figure out the veracity of the statements of people that show up to the table admittedly with no proof.
Right.
I mean, it just seems to me like a waste of energy. Let's
Right.
get more people to the table that do have proof and now take that and run with it. What does this mean? What do we do as a people with this newfound truth? And how do we expend